Well, hello. What's going on, everybody? It's MattyGritt here today, and we've got another episode of Talking with Grit. Just chilling out, having a good time. Football Sunday. The Seahawks lost, in a bad game in St. Louis. Kind of sucked a little bit, Today, we're going to be talking about famous people. The famous people I've met, the famous people I want to meet, and even in the comments, if you want to say the famous people you've met, go ahead right ahead. But anyway, after the game, before I get into the whole famous people discussing about the game, team deathmatch on sewers, a very good team deathmatch. I'm using I believe this is Sharp Shot. No, this is Kickback, I believe. One of the two. Anyways, from the new Master 3 pack, if you guys want to check out all my playthroughs, will be in the link description. Or you can check out the channel at youtube.com/MattGritt. Okay, so let's get on. If you've seen the little video thumbnail, you're probably wondering, who is that you're with, MattyGritt? Oh, I know that's you on the left-hand side, but who is that guy you're with? Well, that's actually Ron Jaworski. And Ron Jaworski is he's a former professional football player. He used to play for he was mainly a great player for the Philadelphia Eagles, notably for losing in Super Bowl 15 with the Eagles. They lost against the Oakland Raiders. But here's the picture of me and Ron Jaworski. There's the thing you see on the video thumbnail. Look at me, look. Got that Starbucks uniform, kicking it like I do, repping my swag. Look at that off the screen now. But yeah, Ron Jaworski, and it's funny how I met Ron Jaworski. A lot of people, I was working with all girls this day, and a lot of girls, pretty much all girls I know, would not recognize Ron Jaworski. I barely recognize him. So he walks up to the Starbucks counter, and I was like, "Hi, sir, how you doing?" And he's like, pretty good. And I was like, "What can I get you?" And he's like, "Well, I'll just take a small coffee." I was like, "All right." Our small coffees are $2.09 at our Starbucks. That's like the price. And I was like, "Let me $2.09, sir." So I grab his coffee, come back, and he gives me $2.09. And I'm like, when he walked up, I'm like, dang, this guy looks a lot like Ron Jaworski. And so, he orders his stuff. So I give him his coffee, and he pays me. He gives me like 5 or 10 or 20, something like that. So I'm getting my change. I'm getting my change, I'm gonna ask him. So I'm like, has anyone ever told you look a lot like Ron Jaworski? And it must have been like an awkward thing to say at the time, because he's probably like, wow, I am Ron Jaworski, idiot. But no, he didn't say that. But he's a very nice man, very nice man. And he starts laughing. He's like, yeah, people have told me that. So I look at him for like a second. I'm like, wait, are you Ron Jaworski? And he's like, yeah, I am. I was like, oh, wow, that's nice to meet you, all that stuff. It was pretty cool, because I rarely ever meet someone. I've never met someone famous from football. It's to be an NFL fan and to meet like a former player. That's like meeting Terry Bradshaw. I'm not a Steelers fan, but to meet Terry Bradshaw, that's a pretty big honor. If you guys ever followed football, Terry Bradshaw's a famous Steelers quarterback, very, very good quarterback in the Hall of Fame. I know him from pregame shows and stuff like that. I know Ron Jaworski because he does ESPN, a lot of stuff with ESPN. So that's how I know Ron Jaworski. Because I'm not a big Eagles fan. I honestly hate the Eagles, and I didn't tell him that, of course. I'm not gonna say I hate your team. Get a picture of me. But anyway, how I got the picture. I'm working with all girls, and they're like, "Who is it?" And I was like, "Ron Jaworski, it's Ron Jaworski." Well, a lady behind Ron Jaworski was like, "Honey, look, it's Jaws." That's like his nickname, Jaws. And the little kid's like, "Oh, wow." So I started asking, I'm like, "Do you mind if I get a picture of you?" So I don't jump the counter, and I go around and back. And the lady behind him, I was like, "Do you know how to work a cell phone camera?" She's like, "Yeah." She had an iPhone with her, so she was probably familiar with it. And so he shook my hand and everything. He reached his hand. It's not like I was a nuisance to him, right? I didn't want to feel like I was like, "Oh yeah, get a picture of me." How people can be like annoying like that, picture people. And I do love getting pictures. I am a huge picture buff. If anyone guys want to get a picture, I'll sign it. Send it to me. P.O. Box 90210. No, I'm just kidding. It's in California. But yeah, it was a very cool thing, and I got the picture developed. It's in my photo album, along with all my other pictures, prom and high school and stuff like that. And so anyway, other famous people I've met. Well, it was actually kind of weird, because that week was, and you're not gonna believe this, but I actually met 3 famous people that week. I met Ron Jaworski. The day before I met Ron Jaworski, I was working the morning shift, and these guys from NBC came in, and I was like, wow, because you can tell when they're big guys. One guy was wearing a suit, and a really tall black guy, and I'm not trying to be racist, but it's a description of him. And the other guy is a shorter guy, and the shorter guy's wearing an NBC polo. If you guys aren't familiar with NBC, in my area it's NBC 10. That's like our local Philadelphia news. I'm not in Philadelphia, but in New Jersey we get Philadelphia Broadcasting. So that's how it works. So the guy has an NBC shirt on, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys work for NBC?" And the guy's like, yeah. So I look at the taller guy in the suit. I'm like, wait, you're Harry Harrison, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. Well, here's Harry Harrison. Here's what he looks like, in case you guys don't know. That's him. And I was like, this guy looks familiar. Like, you ever just get like that feeling, like, this guy freaking looks familiar. I know this man. So, and he was probably nicer than Ron Jaworski. Ron Jaworski was very nice, but this guy was like friendly, you know. He was just a very awesome guy to talk to. And he was like, how's your day going? I'm pretty good, you know. Just got in, gotta work till 3 o'clock and so gotta go do a YouTube video, youtube.com/MattGritt. He's like, okay, I'll announce on the news. No, he didn't do that. I wish he did. That'd be a huge plug, and I'll probably get like 1,000 subscribers in a day. They're pretty cool. Also, who I met the day before that. Well, no, I'm gonna save that for last. I have a video clip for you. I know, video. Whoa. That summer, a summer before that, I should say, was my first month working at Starbucks. I've been there for like a year and a half now. My first month working at Starbucks, I worked like around July, and a guy comes in. He's wearing a Fox 29 shirt. Fox 29 is like our local Fox TV broadcasting station for Philadelphia area. And I'm like, this guy. I heard his voice, and I walk around. I'm like, this guy looks familiar too. Like, and I was like, you're on TV, you're right. Well, the guy was John Belaris. If you guys aren't familiar with John Belaris, there's a huge story behind him. How he was fired. Well, he wasn't fired during this time, but he got in a lot of trouble with like some girl bar stuff and the whole thing happened. But anyway, before that, I wanted to get to that. That was like my first person I met. But the day before I met Harry Harrison, I met Dom Irrera. I said his name wrong. It's Dom Irrera. Well, Dom Irrera is a famous Comedy Central comedian, and I didn't know him. I had no idea who this man was. I really don't watch Comedy Central unless it's for like South Park or stuff like that. So the guy behind Dom Irrera actually points in. He's like, hey, do you know who that guy was? I was like, no, who was he? He's like, that's Dom Irrera. He's a very famous comedian. So I actually looked up Dom Irrera, and here he is talking.
You know, you ever those Penthouse magazine articles we hear about the two women, the two co-eds lounging around a house in lingerie and high heels in the dorm room, and they get so bored they start sexually experimenting with each other. Like, you know, I can't imagine being that bored with one of my friends. Man, George, I'm bored. You know what that means.
Well, he was a very nice man, even though I didn't recognize him and I pronounced his name wrong. Still very nice. So I'm like, you know, tell us a joke, do something funny. He's like, all right, I'll do something funny. So he looks over and we have this huge travel plaza, and he looks over and sees a stray cat, and he pulls out a snub-nosed 44 Magnum, and he just blows the cat's head off, and then walks out of the place. Nah, I'm just kidding. That was a joke for you guys. MattGritt, the comedian. Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy MattGritt. Make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. Until next time, guys, no matter what you do, always make sure to do big things. Peace, and I'm out.